Hey, this is Ryan with One Board Family, and today I'm going to teach you how to play the trick-taking game Slava from Brothers in Games. This game supports 2 to 5 players and is a trick-taking game that has a military theme where players are winning battles, gaining points, ultimately trying to win a total of 5 campaigns. I'm going to teach you the basics of how to play the game, so let's jump into the setup of how you're going to set up your very first game. When you first open the box for Slava, you're going to see the rulebook, and in the second page of the rulebook, you're going to see a full breakdown of every card that you'll need for each of the player counts. You've got a 2, 3, 4, and 5 player count game. For this tutorial, we're going to set up as we're playing a 3-player game. There are 6 different units or card types in the game of Slava. In this example, you're going to see that the name of the unit is down at the bottom, plain, along with the number of points it awards the person who earned that trick. At the top right and left hand corners, you're going to see the airplane symbol, and then only on one card in that unit you're going to see this, which is a commander symbol. The commander symbol stands for the best of that unit type, and we're going to get into that in just a moment. So for setting up a 3-player game, we're going to include 3 airplane units, 3 artillery units, 3 anti-armor units, total of 6 tank units, 6 infantry units, 2 anti-aircraft guns, and a single bomb card. All of these cards will be shuffled together into a single deck of cards, and out of the deck, each player will receive 8 cards representing the 8 battles that take place during the course of one campaign. Before starting every campaign, the weather deck, which is made up of 5 cards, will be shuffled, and then 1 card will be flipped over. You have 3 cards that say good weather on them, and you have 2 cards that say bad weather. This is important because the good weather and bad weather dictate what is the most important in each battle. You'll see reference cards included in the box that show you the bad weather hierarchy and the good weather hierarchy. You'll notice that the bomb does the same thing in both of these, but at the top of the hierarchy for good weather is the plane, and the top of the hierarchy for bad weather is the infantry. Once the weather has been decided for the campaign, good weather, players will use their 8 cards to do battle in the middle of the table. This is a sample hand of one of the players who has received 2 infantry units, 2 anti-armor units, 1 airplane with the commander symbol, 2 tanks, and 1 anti-aircraft gun. Each battle in Slava will start with a player playing a card to the middle of the table, with players to the left going around the table playing cards one after another until every player has played a single card into the battle. When a player has won a battle, that player will gather the cards that they've won, this being the anti-aircraft gun beating the plane. They will take these cards and put them face down in front of them. Players may never look back at the pile of cards that they've won. They must keep that count of which cards have been played and which cards have not been played in their head, and cannot look back at previous battles. Now let's take a look at playing out a battle with 3 players during good weather. You'll see in the reference card the hierarchy of which cards and which army units beat which units. The first player chooses to play an infantry card. They'll lay it in the center of the table, and the second player chooses to play a tank card. That tank card beats the infantry unit according to the hierarchy during good weather conditions. The third player decides to play another infantry unit. This infantry unit does not beat a tank, and therefore the tank is still the winner of this trick, or battle. The player who played the tank will receive the cards and will receive the points at the bottom of the cards at the end of that campaign. In a future battle, another player plays the infantry unit with the commander symbol. The next player plays a plane, which, according to the hierarchy, beats the infantry unit, even though it does have the commander symbol. The next player chooses to play an anti-aircraft gun. Because the plane is currently winning this battle, the anti-aircraft gun takes down the plane and wins this battle. That player who played the anti-aircraft gun will receive all 3 cards of the battle and score the points at the end of the campaign. In a third example of a battle, the first player chooses to play a tank card. The second player chooses to play an anti-armor unit, which means, according to this hierarchy in good weather, the anti-armor unit defeats the tank. The third player chooses to play another anti-armor unit. Because this anti-armor unit was played after the first one, this player will actually take the battle. So that player will collect these cards, receiving these points at the end of the battle. Now, let's take a look at the commander symbol and how it affects the battle. Let's say, for instance, the first player played the tank again. The second player still chose to play the anti-armor unit, which has the commander symbol. It still wins regardless of that commander symbol. And then the third player chooses to play an anti-armor unit. Now, even though this is the second version of it, this commander symbol takes precedence, and this commander symbol means that it's going to win in battle against its own military unit. So in this case, player 2 will actually take the victory for this battle and receive these points to be counted at the end of the campaign. An important note here is that cards are always evaluated as to whether they're beating the current winning card. So in the instance of a player playing a plane as the first player, the second player playing an anti-aircraft gun, which beats the plane in good weather, and the third player playing a tank, the tank has to win against the anti-aircraft gun because this is the current winning card at the table. We look at the hierarchy, and tanks beat anti-aircraft guns, and therefore this tank will be the winning player of the battle, receiving these points to be counted at the end of the campaign. Now let's get into the hierarchy of which cards win during good weather. The plane will win against anti-armor, artillery, tank, and infantry. The anti-armor unit will beat artillery, tank, and anti-aircraft gun. The artillery will beat tank, infantry, and anti-aircraft gun. The tank will beat infantry and anti-aircraft gun. Infantry will beat anti-armor unit and anti-aircraft gun. Finally, the anti-aircraft gun beats the plane in good weather. Now let's talk about the hierarchy in bad weather conditions. In this hierarchy, the infantry is the one who beats airplanes, anti-armor, artillery, tanks, and anti-aircraft. The anti-armor gun will beat planes, artillery, tanks, and anti-aircraft guns. The tank beats airplanes, artillery, and anti-aircraft gun. The artillery will beat planes and anti-aircraft guns. The anti-aircraft gun still beats the plane. And the plane beats nothing because in bad weather conditions, it doesn't even take off from the runway. Now let's take a look at the bomb card, which is present at 2, 3, 4, and 5 player games. There's only a single bomb card in any of these configurations, and it wipes the table of all the cards played during that specific battle. So let's take an example where player 1 plays a tank, player 2 plays an anti-armor unit, which beats the tank, and then player 3 has played the bomb. The bomb takes everything out, and no points are scored during that battle. It's important to note that the player who is holding the bomb card during a campaign does not want to hold that card for too long. If the player plays the bomb card in the 8th and final battle of a campaign, that player will be awarded negative 10 points for holding the bomb until the last battle, and those 10 points will come off of their campaign score. Here are 2 additional rules that you need to know when playing the game of Slava. When players play identical cards, like player 1 playing an infantry card, player 2 playing an infantry card, and then the third player also playing an infantry card, a player at the table can knock on the table, calling out this third player who played an identical card. This player may end up winning this battle, but they are then awarded negative 20 points for playing the third copy of a card. Now in a 4-player game, if there was a card played in between, this third copy of the card still will count against them if somebody calls them out and knocks on the table. No matter if there's a card played in between or they're played back to back, the third copy of a card played during a single battle can earn a player negative 20 points. In the 8th battle of a campaign, the player who wins that final battle will score an additional 10 points for winning that final battle of a campaign. Those 10 points will be added to their campaign score, which we'll show you next. After players have played all of their cards at the end of 8 battles, players will take the cards that they've won across those battles and count up for their campaign score. In this instance, we have 2 tanks that are worth 5 apiece, anti-armor unit and infantry, which are worth 3 apiece, a plane which is worth 10, and an anti-aircraft gun worth 0. So this player would score 26 points, and because they won the last battle of the campaign, they also add in the 10-point bonus that they received for winning that final battle. So this player's score will be a total of 36 points. After a winner of that campaign has been determined, players are going to gather all of the cards used in the campaign, not to mention the bomb and any cards that the bomb took out during that campaign. All these cards will be shuffled by the player to the left-hand side of the player who started the game. This player will shuffle the cards, dealing 8 cards to each player at the table. A new campaign will start, and at the end of 8 battles, that campaign will come to a close. After someone has won a total of 5 campaigns, that marks the end of Slava. Now that is everything that you need to know in order to get started with Slava from Brothers in Games. Be sure to like this video, and if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel. We greatly appreciate it. And until next time, we'll see you at the table.